So, dear listeners, welcome. Come in, let's get on with a new episode of Sports Shorts from Women's Rights Network. So, I'm Faye, and this is a special edition of Sports Shorts, and we'll be talking about epic adventures in sailing with two fabulous guests. They've both accomplished truly great achievements in their lives, which haven't been acknowledged enough, I don't think, in my personal opinion. But we'll dive into these stories in a bit more detail, and we'll also talk about how these achievements have spun out into a brilliant charity that's helping to educate and empower girls across the globe. So, welcome to Tracy Edwards MBE and to Najiba Noori. Thank you very
Hi.
much. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi,
You
thank you
doing
for
okay?
yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for being here. It's really an honour to host you here on Sports Shorts and to hear both your stories. So Tracy, can we start with you because it's where it begins, isn't it? So your story's been immortalised in the documentary Maiden, which has some fantastic narration and brilliant original footage of you and your all-female crew as you set sail from Portsmouth on your lovingly refitted yacht Maiden. And that was to start a 160-day, 32,000-mile trip around the globe in the Whitbread race. So that was in 1989. I don't want to give too much away about the film because it's just absolutely fabulous, and everybody you have to see it, you have to watch it. Um, but I was welling up in the first 10 minutes. I was in absolute tatters by the end. But tell us a little bit about it, Tracy, in your words.
Yeah, so the way Maiden came about really was I did the 1985-86 Whitbread round the world race. And at that time, there really were no women in big offshore sailing at all. There were 260 crew roughly on that race, and four of us were girls. So we were slightly outnumbered. I was the first woman to race on an ocean racing maxi, but of course, the only way I was allowed onto a boat was to be a cook. But I did, I did it because I desperately wanted to race around the world. I was told pretty much that I would hate it, that I would find it really difficult, that it would be impossible for me to, sort of to even stay on this boat. But one thing I did realize as we were racing, that I think that race, it was 33,000 miles around the world, was that it was not as tough as the guys were telling me. So, it was like this best kept secret of men, their final garden, shed down the bottom of the garden, no women shall pass. And I loved the race. And, even though I was racing with 17 burly guys who were total pirates. I loved the race. But as we were getting to the end of the race, I had a really profound thought because navigation is my passion. It's the thing that I love doing. I learnt on a transatlantic. And as we were getting towards the end of the race, I thought, no man will ever let me navigate on a round the world race boat, probably in my lifetime. And I was 21 years old at the time, which I just thought, no, 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 that's no, I don't, we can't have this. And so I went home to my mum and I said, Mum, I need to be a navigator on a race boat. And she said, well, you'll just have to change the world then, won't you?
Amazing.
Yeah, my mum was like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought, okay, I can do that. So that's how Maiden was born. I mean, not really out of any sense of feminism at that time. That
Mm.
sort of came later. But it was so that I could navigate. And so I had to raise the money and find a boat and put the crew together and become the skipper so that I could choose myself as navigator. And so so that's how Maiden was born. I think as well, the other thing that I learned when racing around the world is that ocean racing is one of the very few level playing fields which women can compete in within my sport because sailing, you have to be, it's down to weight and strength and brute force, and there's a lot of, power needed in sailing. But of course, what I learned about round the world racing was that it's much more about stamina and brains. So that's how, women can race on a level playing field in ocean racing. And of course, Maiden did very well. We won 2 legs and came second overall, which was the best result for a British boat since the 70s. I think it was about 11 years. And it inspired other women and opened the door for women to get out on the water. And now what we see today is just, I mean, the world's just full of these spectacularly brilliant women sailors.
Well, you got the most amazing reception, didn't you, when you finished that race?
That was incredible. Howard, the little minx, he told us that he was our project manager. He said to us, because it was Bank Holiday Monday, May the 28th, 1990. He said, everyone's gone home. They got sick of waiting for you because we ran out of wind at the end. And we were like, oh, okay. Oh, well, that's okay. So as we sailed up towards the Needles and this one solitary boat came out to meet us, we were like, oh, well, at least, there's like one person's come out. And then there was another boat and then another boat, and they all turned round and started following us in. And it makes me go goosebumpy even now when I think about it. It's one of the greatest, most enjoyable days of my life. By the time we crossed the finishing line in the Solent, I think there were 50 boats out on the water, and they reckon there were 20,000 people standing on the dock waiting for us in Ocean Village when we came in. So, I mean, it was totally unexpected and absolutely overwhelming, and yeah, a memory which will live with me forever.
I loved watching you interact with some of the little girls that came to meet you as well, sort of on the different at the end of the different legs. And you were saying that they all knew everybody's name, they knew all your names, didn't they, and what you were all responsible for. You just created this incredible sort of wave of movement, didn't you, among people,
I think
particularly girls, I think.
that with the girls especially, I think that actually leads very nicely into what we did with Maiden next, because it really taught me, I'd had no one to look at. I mean, I had Naomi James and Claire Francis, who were my heroines, but they skippered boats full of men. Actually, probably worse, much worse for them than it was for me, because women are great. We get on great. We have no hierarchy. We just get on with it. There's no egos. Um, but so when Maiden came along and I saw these girls looking at us, I thought, wow, that's really powerful, that we've inspired these young girls. And really Maiden, sort of going on into her next life, that was the basis upon which we built everything that we did from then on. It was to encourage and to inspire and to show girls, because Maiden is well, I mean, I think she's a living entity, even though she's made of
Oh,
aluminium.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but when I think girls see her, it's not an adult saying, "Oh, you can do anything if you put your mind to it." Cue teenage eye rolling, much of. Um, this is a something they can touch. This was done. This happened. And with what we're doing with Maiden now, we have schools down to come and see her. And what I love is the boys realizing girls did this, and the girls being able to say, yeah, yeah, see, yeah, we can do this. So it's not just educating girls, it's educating boys, that yes, we're different, but we are equal.
So, but what I really love about this story as well is that you found Maiden, didn't you, after because you had to sell her, didn't you, after the race, but you found her again.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So the second time I've rescued this boat, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah,
So
you hold on to it now.
So I had to sell her at the end of the race. We never had any money. I mean, seriously, I was just before the curve of the big money in ocean racing, unfortunately. So yeah, and then I found her in 2014, and she was rotting. Someone had dumped her in the Seychelles and just left her there. And so we raised the money to buy her through crowdfunding, my first experience of crowdfunding, which was fantastic. And so we finally bought her in 2016. And then King Hussein's daughter, so King Hussein sponsored Maiden the first time round, and his daughter, Princess Haya, then funded us to bring her back to the UK and to restore her. So we did a complete restoration to take her back to exactly how she was in the race, with some modern navigational equipment as a sort of a bit of a luxury. And then in 2018, she was relaunched by King Charles and Queen Camilla and Princess Haya, which was fantastic. And then we set off on a world tour. So initially it was meant to be like a lap of honor so that girls could see her and we can inspire them. But Princess Haya's passion is girls' education, and that's how really I became involved in that side of it. And we started a charity so that Maiden not only could inspire but could raise funds and awareness for girls' education. And then after we'd been sort of doing this tour for a while, and what was great about doing that was, yes, school children coming down to the boat and boys seeing what girls can do, raising lots of money for girls' charities, educational charities and STEM programs all over the world. But it also, it really reminded me how inspiring she is and how much people love her. I mean, we would sail into port and literally thousands of people would be cheering Maiden. Oh my God, look, it's Maiden, it's Maiden. Not me. They weren't cheering me, they were cheering the boat. And that was when we
So,
decided that we would do her final race around the world, which was it was a throwback really to the original Whitbread, and that started in September 2023.
so this is the 2023 race, the Ocean Globe race. And Najiba, you were recruited as part of the crew for that. That must have been amazing.
Oh my God, I am, like the story that Tracy just told us. It took me back to the Maiden. I remember it was exactly February 2023 that Tracy sent me this message introducing herself and Maiden and the project, and also sent me the link of the film. I had on that time I had no idea and no idea about the boats, oceans, because I come from Afghanistan and I grew up in the mountains. I've never been at sea. And when I watched the film, I was super impressed what Tracy did and what they are doing today. So those days were the first months of being in France in exile, because the way that I left Afghanistan, I was still not in a good mind state, because I was, my family was there, my friends. So, and at the same time, I was feeling a little bit of guilt that, I'm in France, the women and the girls are in Afghanistan with no education. And when I saw this project that Maiden is doing, empowering girls' education around the world, that was, one of the main reasons that I was telling to myself, this is such a great opportunity that they gave me, to be part of Maiden. Of course, I've never sailed, but I was my job was, camera woman, to document this amazing journey. And of course, I was confident with the camera, but also to be a voice from Afghanistan, and to support girls, this amazing team, all female crew on Maiden, doing this amazing job, also raising funds for those charities that they are doing the activities about the girls' education. It was something that I was scared in the beginning, because I was saying, okay, how I'm gonna do this? I don't know how to swim. I'm scared of the water, but I'm gonna try. If I was scared, but Tracy was, giving me confidence. No, you can do it. So I did 1 week of sailing training in the UK. And then I was taking the swimming lessons. I made this peace with the water before they start off the race. So I said, okay, let me try one trip with Maiden, and I will see how it goes. So I remember when we were sailing from Azores to Southampton, UK, for the first, days, like I remember first night, I was that much scared that I slept with my life jacket. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna sink because everyone was experienced, other girls. So then, like day by day, I felt like this freedom at sea that I've never felt it, in my whole life. That these, this peace and this freedom at sea, to connect yourself with the nature, that was something amazing. And I said, okay, I'm in. So
Brilliant.
yeah, mm, we did I think we did great. We won the race.
I think you did really well. I think you did really well. So how
Yeah,
did
but yeah, it was. I think I was lucky, and I am really honored to be part of this project. And because every leg that in every leg we were raising funds for the charities, and I think we did well. So, and still Maiden is continuing, empowering girls' education. Yeah.
Well, it's something that we at Women's Rights Network feel very strongly about the situation for women and girls in Afghanistan. It's very, very hard, for us to understand, and we're just devastated. It was part of the reason why, because we feel so powerless, part of the reason why we set up the vigils for Afghan women and girls, because there's very little we can do from here, but at least, to show that we haven't forgotten them, because the situation is really it's quite appalling, isn't it?
That's why we wanted very much, because we're a charity and we can't be political in any way. We very much wanted to highlight what was happening in Afghanistan. And it was through a connection through a network of Afghan women who basically I said to them, how I'm guessing can I find an Afghan woman who can sail? And they went, probably not. But we happen to know a camera woman. She's really amazing. She's escaped from the Taliban. She's in Paris. She hasn't been there very long, so I don't know what her situation is, but she's this amazing camera woman. I said, well, we need a camera woman, and we'll teach her to sail. I mean, that's no problem. On the original Maiden, we took a doctor and taught her to sail, so that's the right way round. And I remember Najiba saying, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And I said, look at what you've done already, with this incredibly, what a strong woman you are. Just go and try it. Just literally, we'll fly to the Azores, sail back to Southampton, and just see what you think about it. Knowing, hoping that, because I think the mountains and the ocean are very similar, that sense of freedom and the wild and nature and that closeness bizarrely to the stars, it's in a sense, and navigation and all these things. And when after the first leg was finished and before the start of the race, I said to the girls, how did Najiba get on? And they went, like a duck to water. Oh gosh, she was absolutely fine. And of course, I think having Najiba's skill and her and having a camera woman on the boat who hasn't spent years sailing and who is looking at women doing things, and I think that was really and you found that interesting as well, didn't you, Najiba, looking at the different angles of the crew?
Yeah, exactly. It was. For me, I just filmed on land. I was already working on my film when you contacted me about this opportunity. As I said in the beginning, I was not sure, but when we started, I really loved it. I mean, it's so different to, to film at sea compared to the land, but I enjoyed it so much because every this girl on the boat, they have their own story and they are deserve, of course, to be told. There are so many different stories, and these female crew, they are such a, from different countries with amazing stories. And for me, it was, I was learning from each one of them. And yeah, I was filming, and every day, by filming them, by talking to them, I was finding more, more stories. So, and at the same time, like Maiden itself, such a historic boat, that we were all happy and honored to be on this boat, having Tracy encouraging as it's it has such a um, it has many stories important, and what we are telling through through this, of course it's a race, but what is our message? It's about girls education, it's empowering the girls. So I'm sure, so when we did the race, when we came back, I remember I received so many messages from the girls in Afghanistan.
Oh,
We are
that's
proud of you. We are so proud of you. You did this, and you were, one of the voices, and it made me happy, And
mm,
now we are, we in the coming years, we will work on the film with Tracy, with the Maiden team, and I think it's gonna be great, to tell this story, which is super super inspiring, I think.
oh, absolutely. I can't wait. Honestly, I'm going to be the first one in the queue to watch it. Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. No,
And
you both.
I think as well, sorry, Faye,
Yeah.
just to think that I think for me, being so proud of, so the crew on this maiden, I think that they're pretty much the same age as we were, 35 years ago when we sailed around the world. But what really struck me was the skill level was so much more than we had then, because we didn't have that experience, and the confidence and the awareness. I think for me, looking at these young women and understanding they had this incredible awareness of what was happening in the world, Najiba especially, because of what's happening in her country. We had the first three black female crew to ever race around the world, which in 2023-24 is crazy.
It's mad.
Najiba became the first Afghan, male or female, to ever race around the world. So we had all of these amazing, powerful messages going on Maiden, as well as Najiba, what she was saying about, the stories, the different stories. And to think that Maiden then became the first all-female crew to win an around the world race ever. And we had all these amazing young women on the boat. For me, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, them crossing the finishing line and coming in, and I that's another finish I will never forget.
I bet you're like a really proud mum, weren't you? Watching the boat, watching
I
them
mean,
sail.
it's worse than having 12 daughters out at a nightclub at 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, literally, you need to, you just, and if you wake up in the morning and there's, 10 million WhatsApp messages, it's either really good or really
Really
bad.
bad.
Oh my God, are they okay?
Oh,
Yeah,
your
no, they're
nerves,
okay. They're
shredded
fine.
nerves. Oh dear. Oh, this listen, you both absolutely fantastic inspiration, and on days when I just look at my coat when it's cold outside, and I think, shall I? And then it's women like you guys who spring to mind and think, flipping out, look what Tracy went through, look what Najiba did. look where they are, look where they've come, look what they're doing, get out there, go and do your walk. No, seriously, brilliant, absolutely fantastic stories. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything you'd like to?
I'd love Najiba to tell us a little bit about the film that has just, her film, not Maiden, her film about her mum has just premiered. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, so the film that I just finished it, and it was premiered at the IDFA documentary film festival, one of the biggest documentary film festival in the world. So we had our premiere last year, November 2024. The story is about my mother. After 40 years, she decides to learn how to write and how to read and experience the life that was stolen from her, and to become an independent woman. Well, I started this documentary in 2019, but the story of my mother, which I was very, very impressed that with her life, which was very tough that she had, and after years that she carried these dreams of getting education in her hearts, I was very impressed. And she was, every time that I would visit her, she was telling me that I wished I was like an independent woman like you, working outside, having a job, got my education. But I think today is not late. I want to learn. I want to learn how to read and how to write, And me, I was, yes, yes. First, of course, as her daughter. So we started, me and my brothers, obviously my brothers are very supportive. We bought her whiteboard, and she started even with my nephews, with her grandkids, learning writing and reading. So, but also at the same time to start a little business, handicraft business in Kabul with a group of women. Then the story becomes bigger and bigger with the Taliban's threatened when US made this deal with the Taliban to hand the country to the hands of the terrorist group Taliban. So the story obviously becomes the story of all women in Afghanistan. And for me, it was very important to tell this inspiring, story about my mom. And also, it's such a important time of, history in my country that we need to tell this story. And it's also good to tell this story by ourselves, because I remember that on those years, so foreigners would come to my country and they would just take out the cliches, women under burqa, women, violence, Afghanistan, but they wouldn't see the other part of Afghanistan, what we did, what women achieved during those years, and what just happened in a matter of few hours. We just lost everything what we built. So yeah, the story is also like continues after the Taliban, how Afghan women they resist, including my mother. But also we see, the situation today. It's been almost 4 years that the girls are not allowed to go to the school. Even they are not allowed to walk freely or to speak in the public. So this is happening in 2025, and this country is the only country in this planet that the girls are not allowed to go to the school. So, and obviously you see it's Afghanistan is already forgotten and it's not anymore in the news. But I think it's important that we are doing, you are doing, Maiden is doing, at least to what we can do, we do it. And by this film, we want to for sure screen it as much as possible. So, and we have a meeting with Tracy in London to talk about what's happening today and what we can do through our impact campaign.
What's the film called, Najiba?
Writing Hawa.
Writing Our Brilliance. Okay. And can we watch it yet? Is it
Not yet. So
not yet?
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's still in the film festivals, but it's
Right.
gonna be in Arte, the French TV. I don't know if you have access to it, but for sure it's we will let you know when it comes, you know.
Brilliant. Yes.
I'll make sure that the Women's Rights Network have that so that we can make sure
Yes.
we all watch it.
Great stuff. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. All right then. Well, thank you once again for joining us and for telling us your stories. It's been amazing, and good luck with everything that you both carry on doing in the future. We just absolutely love you. You're amazing. So I'll sign off now and say to everybody, thanks for listening. And if you want to do the usual, like, share, subscribe, that would be fantastic. And we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.